Hey, entrepreneurs, are you tired of creating content day after day and wondering why it's not leading to more connections, more clients, or more growth? Well, in this episode of Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home, I sit down with social media strategist Stacey Watts to talk about what really matters when it comes to growing your business online. And we talk about community, connection, and intentional content. I want you to remember those 3 C's. I'm Gail Bates, and I hope you're enjoying these interviews with entrepreneurs from around the world, because what we do is we really talk about what it takes to build a sustainable business from home. Things like productivity, real life strategies, and the behind the scenes decisions that actually move the needle. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell so you never miss an interview. Okay, now in this interview, Stacey shares how working with a productivity coach helped her create a color-coded calendar for the entire year, bringing more focus and structure to both her business and daily routine. And we also talk about her 3 C's framework. Remember I said to pay attention? Community, connection, and content. And why she believes that entrepreneurs should focus on building relationships before creating more content. You really want to listen to that part of the interview. Plus, Stacey shares how she uses AI tools, and she has her favorite resources, which are so many. You're going to love a lot of the information that she shared in there. She also shares why trying to be everywhere online may actually be holding you back. That's a clue. So I hope you enjoy that when you hear it. Now, if you ever felt overwhelmed by social media and content creation, I know I have, when this conversation is filled with practical insights that you can put into action right away. Let's dive in. Stacey, welcome to my Entrepreneurs Who Work From Home series. I'm so happy you're here to share the wisdom that I've been learning from you on the Skool platform. You're a social media strategist, right?
Yes.
And you are working full-time online. Tell us a little bit about your daily routine. I mean, how does that work for you?
So up until recently, my daily routine was a little scattered. And I'm in that transition. Sometimes when you get into business, you get into it and you have a certain pattern you're doing and a thing you're doing. And then all of a sudden one day you realize that's not quite what you want to do. And you start doing different things for people, which is great. And I have that leeway because, of course, I'm the owner of the business and I can go in different directions if I want to based on the knowledge and the things I've learned. And I realized all of a sudden that I was very stuck. I was very, felt scattered. And so I actually, on Monday this week, sat down with another business coach by the name of Cliff Ravenscroft. And he actually sat down and did the most brilliant thing. He's like, okay, if you could wave a magic wand during our meeting, by the end of the 90 minutes, what do you want to achieve? Like anything, sky's the limit. And so I said, I would like to feel less scattered and less stuck. He's like, okay, that, we'll work on that. So then he started asking me questions exactly like this question, like, what does your day look like? What are the tasks you do? So I started listing them out in this long diatribe, and he stopped me, thankfully. And he says, okay, we're just going to talk about each task. So we went through, he wrote down each task. And then he's like, okay, we're going to assign time to each task. Now, here's the funny thing. I've been doing this for 14 years, and I know about time blocking, and everybody's always talked about that. But no one has ever sat down, in all the coaches I've ever talked to about productivity and stuff, and sat down and said, we're doing this right now. This isn't another to-do assignment to add to your to-do list. We're doing it now. So we sat down, and normally I would have been like, yeah, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it would have been another thing pushed to the wayside. Months later, I would still not be doing it. My entire calendar right now is blocked out for the next year.
Right.
Based on what him and I talked about. We went over, it was absolutely mind-blowing. I walked away like that magic wand, literally Tinkerbell dust had been dusted on me. It's mind-blowing when you get the right coaches
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's the kind of coach I strive to be. So it's really nice to see that because I like people to be able to do the same, walk away feeling lifted,
Yes.
like they didn't just learn something, but they actually put it into motion. And so now I've got, I know I have a deadline now for when I want to get my blog back up and running. Because as you know, and you're newer to the content shift, but one of the things I absolutely love about social media is the ability to repurpose the content we have.
Yes.
Right. Which a lot of people feel maybe the way I felt when I first started repurposing is like you're cheating the system. It's like
Yeah.
I'm repeating myself. I'm just repeating myself. Nobody needs to see this a second time because we always think we're reinventing the wheel.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, time blocking isn't something new. I've heard about it for 14 years. 14 years later, I finally have it in practice. Like it is now in my calendar. I actually did the thing that I said I would do that was on my calendar this morning.
Yes. Yes. And that's the trick, isn't it? It is following your calendar,
Yes.
and I'm so happy for you that you have that all planned out. And then because you have that feeling now that you're more in control. I mean, life happens and we get thrown all of these things during the week, during the day. But if you have something to follow, you can always come back to it, right?
Well, and the very nice part is there were certain items that him and I talked about, and we're like, these are the ones that are busy. I can't not do these. These are the ones that can be pushed aside. So if you want to know what my day looks like, it is color coordinated now. Skool is because it's a quiet activity, and I am a very creative person in the afternoon, late afternoon, evening. So because of that, I usually prep any posts that I'm going to make on Skool. I do them the night before. Like I plan them the night before. And with my Skool community, I did something very smart in the beginning. And I decided every Monday, and you've seen this, every Monday since November, I have posted 5 to 7 content prompts. Yeah. Every Monday. Everybody loves those. They're just a really nice way to start your week. Every Friday, bookend it with Fast Fix Friday. So this is a really quick tip. You can end your week on a high note and be like, oh, I already do that. Or, oh, I'm going to, start doing that on Monday, or I'm going to do that right now because it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Like it's a really quick fix. And by doing that and then putting other days like Social Saturday in the so everybody knows in my community, when you come on, this is what happens on Monday. This is what happens on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday and Sunday are kind of thrown in the mix. But pretty much everything has its own schedule. So it's so much easier for me because I can prep some of it ahead of time. And then I just go to my Evernote, which is what I use as a content vault. And I pull out, and I mean, they have titles, Fast Fix Friday, Content Mondays. And I can just copy and paste it in. And I can just sort of let it sit there and marinate, and everybody comes and leaves their comments. And then if I notice nobody's commenting, I just tag everybody. Sorry, that only happened once, but I can tag everybody. And so people do see it. And that is, now that I've got this calendar set up, I can do Skool, that post, which is like a quick copy paste. And then I can go and engage. And then I go in and I do engagement for my client. And depending on the day of the week, I have other things up, my blog, my newsletter, which I'm restarting, my YouTube channel. All those things are put in together. And I'm not then spending hours on something that really should only take me an hour or less than.
And it's great because members of your group, they know what's coming. They know, oh my gosh, this is the day that she's going to talk about that. So it gives them a little schedule as well, right? Yeah.
And I think it feels for all of us a little less overwhelming because if you are on Skool for any length of time, all of a sudden you will find yourself on every community there is that you get an invite for. And if you have 63 members in your community, like I do,
Yeah.
you may end up in everybody's community.
No, I
So
know.
it can be a lot.
And I know it can be overwhelming. I'm so excited about Skool, and I started my own group, and you could be on it 24/7 because there's so much fabulous information.
Oh, and it's fun.
Yes.
It's a fun place. It reminds me of Clubhouse when Clubhouse first started. And, there was that newness, but this actually has like a directionality to it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And now tell me a little bit about your workspace. How you designed your home office or your workspace to support all of this efficiency and focus.
So my office is actually right now in absolute shambles. I'm going to turn my camera off blur, and I'm going to show you where I am right this minute, because my office, which is upstairs in our home, is actually being repainted. So I'm currently in my kitchen, in my living room. But it's got really good lighting. So I don't really need, I know I'm a little darker. I could probably angle myself better. Here, we're going to angle ourselves this way. There we go. A little bit better lighting. But that's the key to any video that you're doing is always, good lighting. And the beautiful part is if you have natural lighting, you face the light, it is diffused properly. Plus there's a curtain there that doesn't let in like the harsh light. So that's kind of cool. And my office upstairs, I'm redesigning it right now. So this is a really good question because I'm having some fun with it. What I want to do is put a gallery wall behind me, nothing too busy, but I want to make every one of the images behind me 100% Canadian artists.
Oh,
so not something bought at like Winners or HomeSense or, online from Amazon. I want to, I have a polar bear that has the northern lights in it. I have a wheat field that was a drone photo from a friend of mine was taken just outside of town here. I'm in Alberta, so I'm in the mountains and do get to see the northern lights and get to see the wheat fields in the mountains. So I would like to have some of that behind me, just to have a little bit of calmness and peace.
Yeah. I love that how exciting to be designing your new office.
Right. And the really cool part is I actually have a friend who is, he helps people design their YouTube or their office spaces if they're going to be on camera.
Yeah.
So he helps with the uplighting and he has explained it. Junaid has explained it so many times on, you need light back here, not just here and here. But the lighting has to come from certain angles so that we don't look one-dimensional on camera.
Right. Oh, I love it.
It is so cool. There's such a world. That's what I love. So it's so funny. I use AI and people, when you tell them that you're in social media or in marketing and use AI, they're like, oh, you use AI to write content. No, no, because there's certain things like someone like Junaid, you can't replace that with AI. You can try. It can tell me all sorts of things. I used ChatGPT to help with the paint color. Right. Because I was having an absolute nightmare of trying to figure out what paint I was going to put behind me. I just wanted something neutral that wasn't a gray. And so ChatGPT helped me come up with the color. Okay. And it didn't need to be something wild, right? It just gave me the opportunity to figure it out very quickly. But the lighting situation, I need a person to do that. The foundations of social media, the foundations of marketing, AI is not going to be able to get it right because there's so many people who get it wrong, or there's so many different ways to do it. You need those foundations, which is why I created my Skool, because everybody wants to use AI, but if you don't understand those foundations, it's not going to get you very far. So, it's a lot of fun being 8 years in business and having the resources and the people to help me do weird things like design an app. A friend of mine just designed an app for me.
Wow.
So like there's just it's a very fun time to be around to learn these things
I
at
couldn't agree.
51.
There's so much we're learning. I'm writing children's books using AI with
Right.
illustrations. I mean, it's just opening up our world. As creatives, it's opening up our world. So, tell me a little bit about, you have a framework, okay? It's called
Yes.
3 C's: community, connection, and content. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So prior to being in marketing, prior to being on social media, I actually worked in banking, and I knew that relationships were the framework of the job I did. So I was a senior personal relationship manager, which in a nutshell is the third person under the branch manager who handles loans and mortgages. Okay. But here in Alberta, particularly where I live, in my branch, so in Canada, we have the top 5 banks: the Royal Bank, Bank of Montreal, Toronto Dominion, CIBC, Scotiabank. So the top 5. And then I worked for one that is strictly in the province of Alberta. But I could have walked out my door and hit every one of those branches, all 5 of them, within throwing a rock, because one was in our parking lot, like down the way. Another was around the corner. 2 were across the street, and one was over here. We all sell mortgages. We all sell loans. We all sell lines of credits and investments, and we all have the same product lineup. But I realized that it didn't matter what product or service I was trying to sell. That wasn't what I was actually selling. What I was selling was the relationship. So someone, if they really decided they didn't want to work with us, it was more not because of something the bank did. It was probably the relationship. If they took their business across the street and they had that ability to do so, clearly we had done something at a relationship level that wasn't working, because nobody is going to take and go through all that effort of moving their banking to another bank for 0.05% on a mortgage. Right. So I knew that from the very, very beginning. And then when I started in marketing, one of my professors had been in marketing back when it was newspapers and radio, and marketing was not online the way it is now. So he had been in it for about 35 years. So I was actually his only student in the class. It was my final capstone project. If I didn't take the class and he didn't run the class, I wasn't graduating. So I needed the class. And Bob, he was a PhD professor, but he was like, just call me Bob. So Bob was like, we need to talk about the relationship and the community behind marketing, particularly now with social media, because it is so different. And that was the conversations him and I would have back and forth. Because he would talk about things that he knew from generations before that still had to do with the community side of things. And he's like, I'm not surprised that marketing went this direction. I'm not surprised that social media became a thing we have, because it's no different than the corner store. You go to the local gas station, they knew everything about everything, right? Now we do that on Facebook. We do that on Instagram, right? So community has always been that absolute necessity, because what you find is it doesn't matter what you sell, the people you have built those relationships within that community, they will continue to support you, even if they don't buy from you, even if they can't buy from you. I have a lady here in town. She does not need social media marketing and never has. But anytime someone says, do you have someone who helps with this? My name is the first one out of her mouth. And there's absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
Right. Other than that relationship, that community. So it's incredible. And then of course you can't have, community without connection. You cannot have content without the first 2 C's, because content without those 2, which is why I always say it's this one, and then content. content. You're just throwing stuff at the wall, and it's.
And how do you weave all that into your Skool community?
I don't just talk to my Skool community on the front, like everything you see as a member. I also send out DMs, not all the time. I don't want to bombard people because I know right now Skool is very busy because they are pushing Skool very hard. And quite a few of my members, like yourself, have your own community and may have one or two communities, and then of course are in a dozen communities. But at one point when I first started the community, that's exactly what I did is I reached out to each and every person. And I'm now trying to make sure that it is on my schedule, that new schedule I just talked about, where I will be connecting with members on a weekly basis. Not on a weekly basis, but if they're a brand new member, like we just had a new member join, within the first 5 days, I sent her a personalized, not an auto DM, which we know goes out when they first join, but I sent her a personalized direct message and said, I want to know what you would like from the community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I really weave the community part in, is I ask my community what they want. Yeah. Not what I think you want. I mean, I know the directionality I can take you. Yeah. I know kind of from my years of experience, but it is nice to say to someone, like, I found out recently we have about 4 or 5 people who don't like AI.
Interesting. So yeah.
It's really good to know, because then I'm not ramming something down their throats they don't want to talk about. Yeah. But the people who are interested, we can have that conversation. So it's really cool that way, is knowing these things and actually listening. And that's where the community and the connection come in. And when I put out a post, you've seen the post called Borrow the Room.
Yeah.
That's where community and connection really kick in. Yeah. Because that's where I ask the entire community, okay, we're going to support each other. What are you working on? Once you've posted what you've worked on, go and talk to the next person who's posted something, and let's support each other. And there have been times where someone says, my about page needs help. Yeah. Where I need help with this article. Yeah. Or I post, and recently one of the girls did, she posted an article she posted from LinkedIn to shared it to the community. Yeah. And I went in and gave her a little bit of a suggestion of things to tweak. And then another person was like, this is what I felt from the article. So now she has a great balance of something to learn, but also how did someone feel? Right. So that's really cool. That's what I love, the community and connection part for the community.
I think it's great. And I think that's why we're talking today, so people can understand, most of all, the Skool community, but also your community and what you do for people. For entrepreneurs who feel overwhelmed by social media, what do you think would be one simple step they could take that they could connect or reconnect with your audience in a meaningful way?
A really simple step is to pick one platform.
Yes.
Get really good at it. Build your community there. Mm-hmm. And then if you really felt you needed to add. So the biggest problem right now, there's 125 plus social media platforms in the English speaking world.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Right. Like, I mean, I just got an invite to Gander Social, which is a Canadian Twitter. I have Blue Sky, which is also like Twitter, and Threads, also like Twitter. So you could be everywhere, but be nowhere and speaking to no one. So I always say, if you're going to connect with your community, pick the one platform. Right now, my one platform is Skool.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. But the things that I am posting in Skool are Skool centric and are very much geared towards that community and the community I'm building. And the engagement factor is going into the other communities that I'm a part of. And I'm balancing, hopefully going to balance it better with my new schedule. But I mean, I haven't forgotten about the other platforms I'm on. So they're my secondary and third, but I do this for a living. Right. So to avoid the overwhelm, you pick one, you stick with it, you get really good at it. and just build it from there. And I mean, most people will tell you also build your email list while you're at it.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Owned media, rented media.
Yes. Yes. No, that's really, really important and valuable for entrepreneurs to understand as well.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about you as your business. Do you have any goal setting process that you use?
Yes. In fact, I'm actually about to do a YouTube video about that goal setting process. I do what's called a 30, 60, 90-day plan. You being probably from corporate like me, we knew those, our managers always came up with these, and they're great because you start them and it's each quarter. And you can start it in the middle. You don't have to start it January to March, April to June. So you can start it in the middle. And the nice part is at the 30-day mark, you check in, what goal did I want by 30 days? What goal do I want by 60? What goal do I want by 90? And am I on the right track? And if you're not, this is the beautiful part about the 30, 60, 90, is you can either course correct and put together a calendar, get yourself back on track, or you can adjust it. That's the beautiful part about that goal setting. If you only touch base with your goals at the 90-day mark or the 1-year mark, you really don't know what went fully right and what could have been fixed or dropped or changed throughout. And I think that's why so many entrepreneurs get so overwhelmed is we're looking at this big picture. We're not breaking it down, baby steps and like snack size.
Yeah. And I think today with AI and with things changing so much in our world that 30, 60, 90, every 30 days, looking at where you're at, that's my way of doing it as well. But so it's very helpful for entrepreneurs because you can look at the big picture, the yearly goal, but trying to stay on top of all the changes that are happening in our world at the end, maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't. Who knows?
Yes.
I'm
well, and that's one of the things that we talk about with the AI marketing and the AI side of things as well.
Yeah.
Is you're not behind because everybody's behind on AI. There's so much of it. You couldn't even be on unless you worked for one of the AI companies and you would only be, 100% on like Claude, and you'd probably only be 100% on your part of the job of being there, right? So, yeah, I mean, our world is changing so incredibly fast that there is just no way to not look at the little things as you go, because even the little wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being invited onto your podcast, onto this.
Yeah.
Right. I got invited on to Krista Bray's KDP Publishing.
Right.
Which was fantastic. It was so much fun to be able to teach authors how to repurpose their content and like repurpose their book.
Yes.
Which was like, this is the big repurposing and let's like blow this thing up. Right. But that's the part that those are huge wins for me. They might be little wins for somebody else, but I take them as like.
Have any like steps to repurposing that entrepreneurs could use right now?
So I do have a thing called the Meaning Multiplier framework, repurposing framework. And it actually has 4 core factors in it. I'm not going to get into them because they're little. It is more like a whole half hour, 45-minute class. But the neat part about it is it actually, instead of just looking at a piece of content and going, okay, how can I rewrite this or change it into, from a blog to a reel or vice versa, it actually takes the meaning, so what you're trying to say, and helps you rewrite it in a way that you can sprinkle it across, and not just on multiple platforms, but on the same platform if you wanted to. But it's taking the meaning. So the meaning of repurposing and how I can present it in multiple different ways and share with people how they can use a post. They can use, well, I'll give you an example. In our Skool community on the content shift, I had a conversation in the content, like in the caption,
Yeah.
or in the comments of a caption. And I always say there's content in the conversations. And so we had this conversation, and there was a quote by one of our members, and I'm like, that's brilliant. And all of a sudden my brain went blog, and I wrote an entire blog post, and I sent her a message, and I said, I would like to use this. And I gave her the exact quote that she gave me, word for word. And I would like to use your name, but I will not do it if I do not have your permission. Sent her the whole blog with the quote. She read it and she goes, oh my goodness, you have to use it.
Great.
So, there's a different way to explain how to repurpose. I take a story and I explain how we're taking this quote, putting it into a full blog, and there's other ways I can, pull it out and pull it apart. So when I talk about repurposing, I talk about it in vastly different ways depending on who I'm speaking to. And that's really the biggest tip I can give you is don't look at it just as how do I rewrite this? Look at it how I can tell a different audience this.
Oh, I like that. I love that. And that's why people have to join your Skool group called the Content Shift, right?
Betcha.
So now, tell us more a little bit. Tell me a little bit about what kind of tech tools you use. Do you have a tech stack?
I am a tech junkie. First off, so if you're talking like hardware or like actual physical devices, I have both a Samsung phone, and I use and a lot of people are like, wait, you use Android, not an iPhone? I use Android because actually I find it much easier to manipulate the way I need to be able to use it. And iPhone is very restrictive. So that's one of the reasons I've used Android forever. I have my desktop. I also have a VivoBook, and I have an iPad. And the reason I have an iPad and the Android is if someone comes to me and says, I don't understand what's going on with Instagram because they changed it again, I can pull it up and be like, so what do you have, iPhone or Android? And I can actually look at it and understand it enough to explain it back to them on where they should be clicking or what's moved or how things are working. Like when they moved the Reels tab around and drove everybody nuts, they're still driving us crazy, but it happens. And then as far as other tech goes, people will be astonished to hear this, but I use Manus AI, Cloud AI, ChatGPT, Notebook LM, Perplexity, and Perplexity's Comet browser. Wow. I know. Wow. And then I just added Cloud Coworker or Cowork because it is really a very neat little way to do things when you I needed to pull a bunch of invoices. There's no banking information on them, but I needed a list of these invoices and the amounts and links to the actual invoice. And so I set Cowork free on my, let it go and do its thing on Google to pull all the invoices I needed. It pulled those invoices, gave me a report. I didn't even have to do anything. I went through it and went, yeah, that's everything. Sent it to my accountant. And now I didn't have to go and do a whole bunch of extra work. My bookkeeper and my accountant can take care of it right from that. And I have all the invoices if we need them. So it was absolutely insane because as a creative, that's the last thing I want to be doing is spending a huge amount of time on accounting.
It's a whole new world. It's great. Yeah. Do you use any specific apps?
I use tons of apps. So for video editing on short form videos, I use InShot Pro. Yeah. InShot has been around for a very long time, and they added a really neat AI feature that if you are like me and I speak a little slower, because most Canadians do, we tend to enunciate our words a little differently. We also say and ah. As natural human beings, it will take out the ums, the ahs, the pauses, and I can speed it up all in one app.
That's great.
Yes. And the AI button, I just press it in. It gives me every sentence breaks it out. So I can actually take out full sentences if I'm like, no, I don't want to say that anymore. And it will splice it together and I don't have to sit there and like fuss.
Did you
It's a
do that on
button.
your
It's
phone or
really
do you
cool.
do that on your laptop, on your?
Oh, on my desktop. Most of mine are cloud-based. So I use Opus Clip for long-form AI video editing. I use Metricool for content scheduling for myself and my clients. I recommend Vista Social if you don't have a large amount of platforms that you're putting out to, because they do have some pretty good software as well. Um, let's see, what else do I use? I use Cake Mail for my email marketing. It's a Canadian company, so you have to be in Canada to use it,
Uh-huh.
which gets a little frustrating if your virtual assistant is not in Canada. It's a little annoying.
Do you use a scheduler?
My scheduler is called Metricool.
Oh, okay.
It's from Spain,
Yeah.
but they are really open. So is Vista. Vista Social is from the US. It's from Miami. Both companies are very open to speaking to their clients to find out changes we want. Or if we're not liking the way something is set up, they'll really listen, which is very cool. And I mean, I have used pretty much every scheduling app that is out there, including the Meta's own business suite, which I absolutely, it's fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. It's fine. It's not really that good. I do use Instagram edits. It's not a horrible app. I use Canva.
Mm.
I have Mojo instead of CapCut. I stopped using CapCut because if I'm doing client videos, I don't want their images taken and used by CapCut. It's not mine for them to use. So terms and conditions, I was like, nope, not allowing that. I use a bunch of different royalty-free video and photo websites. So Pixabay, Pexels, Dupe.
Oh my gosh, you're a wealth of information.
I have way too much tech, and you would think I have a lot of time because the amount of tech I use, but I use everything. Like, it would be really lovely if they could put all of these into one, but could you imagine how robust it would have to be? It'd be insane.
That's why I do this, because you've given other entrepreneurs ideas on what might work for them. And that's the reason I ask all these questions. So other entrepreneurs,
and I love them.
learning from you and learning from other people as well. So with that, do you have any recommendations for books or podcasts that you love?
Yes. I would strongly recommend, I'm going to pull up the title here because I don't want to get this wrong, but Shannon McKinstry does a podcast, and I'm just going to pull up the title if my Spotify opens up. I think it's called, if I remember, it's called Good Content. And it's a really good little podcast. And when I say little, I don't mean little by it's not giving good content. It's little because she doesn't spend an hour walking you through stuff. She gives you, it's very similar to the Fast Fix Friday. It's a nugget of information that you can run and do something with very quickly, and you don't feel overwhelmed by it. That's why it's one of my favorites. Another one is Hacks and Hobbies with Junaid. He's the gentleman who is helping me with the lighting. And then there is the Social Media Marketing Podcast with Social Media Examiner. Yeah. And there is an AI marketing podcast also with Social Media Examiner. So there's a lot of really good marketing podcasts that are not boring at all. Yeah. A couple good YouTube channels are like Pat Flynn has a really good YouTube channel for YouTubers to learn YouTubing. Jerry Potter has a really good one. Molly Mahoney. Oh my goodness. Kenya Kelly. There's so many good people in my industry that are doing really good things. Austin Armstrong, like they're just Jonathan Mast. It really depends on what you want or what you need. And I'm writing a book right now as well. So I will be one of the many people adding to the books out there, but it's called Redefining Showing Up, Your Permission Slip to Use Social Media for Business on Your Terms.
Great. And when is that going to be coming out?
Well, now that I got my calendar straightened out, hopefully a lot sooner than later. It has been 8 months since I've touched it, so I need to get back on track. So I do have it in my calendar, scheduled for next week to start touching it again.
Great.
I think I'm on chapter 6. I could possibly be on chapter 5. And I am also, like you, using AI to help me write it. No, it's not writing it for me. I want to be very clear about that, but it will be in my, notes of the book. When I write, I talk to the apps. So there's and everybody needs to know this on any of and I have my phone, but it's going to be a weird screen. Every app for AI, as you know, has an audio button, and you can go into Claude, you can go into Cowork, whichever. And the really neat part is you can actually go in, and there's a little button right here.
Yeah.
Microphone. And I will actually talk to it. Yeah. So it knows the flow of the words I'm giving it. It understands the sequence of a story. It is not going to throw a bunch of words in there that are just pulled from the internet. It knows me a lot more than if I just fed it written information. And I don't know, and I believe it does this, but I don't know 100% sure. And someone in the AI industry will have to tell us for sure, but I am pretty sure it catches tone. And whether you're happy or sad or
that's very interesting. Yeah.
Right.
I work with ChatGPT and Claude mostly, and they talk about that. They say, this is how you'll write it in your tone. So they are picking up on that, which is really lovely.
And I'm 100% sure they must be, because there are times I sat in the airport, the San Diego airport a couple of years ago, and I was exhausted. I was done. I'd just finished 3 days at Social Media Marketing World, all the networking, all the, just my poor brain was just cooked. And I had a story I wanted to put onto LinkedIn as an article about an encounter and something that happened that was really cool. But I was not opening my laptop. There was no way I was typing this story out. And I mean, ChatGPT at the time was fairly new for most people. But for me, I'd already been using it for about, oh my goodness, I'm going to say probably a year and a half. And I have used AI previously, not LLMs, but previous different kinds of AI. And so I was like, I'm just going to use ChatGPT. And it wasn't common to use it at the time, but I decided to do it. And again, I'm tired. I'm not going to sit there and type this whole story out. So I hit the audio button and I just went and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. The story didn't make any sense if you had read what I had said to ChatGPT. But I was like, okay, I want to make this into a LinkedIn article about this story. I want to focus on this aspect. It was a bit, it was a really cool way to delight your customers. And we need to mention this person. We need to mention this. I gave it absolute parameters, and I want an H1 title, which is the main headline, the H2 title, which is the subtitles. And I want to make sure it is search engine optimized.
Love it. Love it.
There is no way I was doing this. I mean, I spent 5 minutes telling, this AI what I wanted. There's no way in 5 minutes I could have typed this out and gotten it to that point. And it spit out the story. And I'm desperately trying to read it on my phone. So I copied it, put it into a Google Doc. So at least I could actually physically read it on my phone. And I read it through and I, made any of the changes I needed to make, which were very few.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly few because it was my story that I had just blathered to it. All the words I had let it, no, game changer, no, in this world of social media, none of that. And it was super cool. The article, I posted it before I got on the plane. By the time I landed, I had over 600 views on an article on LinkedIn. And it was
Amazing.
my first article ever. So that says something about how we can use. And I mean, this was back in 2023. Yeah, I think it was 2023. So not as sophisticated as it is now.
No.
Right. So it was incredible. I really felt like there is something to this. Now, normally I would not ask it to write for me, but I realized it was actually getting my voice right. And this is back before I'd given it its, very specific parameters of this is who I am. This is
Yeah.
what you need to know. Same with Claude. So I see AI not taking away from anybody, really, unless you don't want to learn it. And I
Yeah.
know, yes, there's environmental impacts and a lot of that discussion. But there will always be something, unfortunately, that is going to steal from the environment. And as long as we're conscious about it and make other conscious choices, I think we can make it through this AI revolution very much better than we did the Industrial Revolution. If you want to, so that's just my 2 cents on that side of things.
I love the story, and I hope my viewers who are watching this really take from it, the essence of how you can utilize AI for good, and that's what we're all about, is using AI for good, right?
Yeah.
So now, okay, so just now share with the viewers more about your business, more about your Skool group, how they can connect with you, and we will be putting all of that in the links in the description below.
Awesome. Okay, so I am known as Stacey on social media. They can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Gander Social, Pinterest, and YouTube under Stacey on Social. On LinkedIn, I'm under Stacey Watts. I have not set up my business page on LinkedIn. As I mentioned, I picked one platform, I stuck to it, which was Instagram. And so my LinkedIn was only really a tertiary
Yeah.
platform. So I went there, connected with people in my own industry. It wasn't really one I used to promote my business. My business, however, I have done up until now is social media management and social media strategy. And I am looking at helping entrepreneurs that are established experts like yourself and myself connect the dots on their marketing ecosystem. So the owned media, which is your website, your blog, your podcast RSS, any opt-ins you have, your email marketing, and connect those properly to your rented media, your Skool, your social media, Pinterest, YouTube, so that they all speak to each other in the sense that you're able to drive people to your offers and drive them properly, because there is a lot of disconnects that I see when people are putting stuff on social media. They're not really connecting people to that. They're connecting them to another platform. It's like, okay, we need to connect over here and actually see that it's working, because that's the return on investment a lot of people are missing. They're spending time on social media. They're not seeing that it's working because we can't connect those dots. We need to connect those dots. So,
And you teach all this in your Skool program, the content shift, right?
you betcha. The Content Shift it is a $5 a month community with a 7-day free trial. I did turn it on to a small paid community because we were getting quite a few scammers, and we were getting people that were coming in that were taking stuff that I was posting and posting it on their own groups.
Interesting.
Yes. stealing content, which it's going to happen. It is what it is. But I wanted our community to be that supportive place where nobody felt like there was these outside forces doing things or making you feel like you couldn't ask a question, because there is no question in social media that is stupid, because I don't know it all.
Yeah.
Um, right? Like, we have some of the people in our community that know more about LinkedIn than I do. Great. Share your knowledge, please. I asked one to do that the other day, and she contradicted a little bit of the information I gave. But my thought process was, it's not really a contradiction. It's just a different way to do things.
It's
Right. She's seeing things from a different perspective. Perfect. We need both perspectives here. So that's part of the free community, the $5 a month. If you've joined now, if you joined before, it was still free. And then the premium community is actually a thing called the Shift Roadmap, which is a 3-phase process that actually takes you through 60 days to get some of this and to sort of do it yourself, not the full ecosystem per se, but at least to take yourself through and clean these things up and understand it a little bit better, so that when you are asking AI to help you, you have these foundations, you have this fundamentals. It's in progress right now. I'm working on it. We're getting there. In the premium, you also will have an option for a hot seat with me, a one-on-one hot seat, which will be video recorded and only available to premium members. There is also the opportunity to ask for 3 to 5 captions written for you per month.
Wow.
I threw that in there. Yeah. And the meaning multiplier is actually part of the premium. It's part of the roadmap. So it's actually it's in the second phase. So you understand a little bit more how everything flows. It is actually a small journey. It's a roadmap, literally.
Well, it's wonderful, and it's such valuable information for entrepreneurs today who are looking for ways to stay on top of all the social media craziness that's out there. And that's why I love Skool, and that's why I really love your Skool group, the Content Shift, because that's where, we're there to learn, and you are there to share with us how to do it. And I love it. And as I said, we will put all of that in the description below on how to connect with you.
Wonderful. And I am relaunching my email. So there will be newsletters available coming up very soon. It'll only be like once a week. So if they want to connect with me, the best place right now is actually either Skool or Instagram. Not that my email address is not available. It's just, let me clean those things up first, and then we'll get that little badge back on my website where they can literally sign up for the newsletter right there. So, it's a very exciting time to be an entrepreneur. It's a very exciting time to be this far into my business, because I am no longer feeling like I need to quit. I've had those years. I'm sure every entrepreneur has had those years. A very, very good friend of mine, online friend of mine, posted during the pandemic, "Pivot, don't quit." And that is what has kept me here. And that is what I'm reminded of every time I get frustrated because Instagram or LinkedIn or somebody has changed something. Or the negative side. Unfortunately, in my industry, I see a lot of the negative side of social media, but I also see a lot of the positives, which is what I bring to our community. And any community I go into, I try to bring the positive side, because yes, there's, in an average week, there's about 14 changes on Instagram, but beyond somebody who does marketing like myself, you do not need to know about all 14 changes. So that's why I will bring you one change. And tell you about it.
The advice, pivot, not quit, is and how you describe that and how you're actually working on that yourself. I think that's brilliant. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs who are watching today, they need to take that away and understand that that's where we're at. So Stacey, thank you so much for being
on, Gail.
So appreciate it.
This was fun. I always enjoy these kind of conversations, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, because I get to share some of the crazy parts, the behind the scenes stuff of business and being in this for this long. But I also then get to, when the time comes and your community gets to watch this, I want to see in the comments, like either questions or, oh, I don't use, that platform, or I don't use that. I want to know why, because I'm curious, because it actually helps me understand, people a lot better, and entrepreneurs a lot better, because that's those are my clients. So I want to know. Tell me you don't like AI. Great. Let's talk about it. But let's have an honest and open discussion about it where nobody walks away going, well, that was rude.
That's not going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to seeing more of you and learning more from you in your Skool group as well. So thanks again, Stacey.
You're welcome, Gail. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate this time with you.
Wow, what a wonderful conversation with Stacey. She shared so many special insights for entrepreneurs like you and me who are always worried about content creation, right? Here are the 3 key takeaways I'm taking with me. The first is community comes first. Her 3C framework, community, connection, and content, it's just a powerful reminder that relationships create opportunities, content matters, but connection is what turns an audience into a community. It's pretty powerful. And number 2 was her advice on intentional planning that creates momentum. I was so impressed by Stacey's commitment to time blocking and creating that clear plan for the whole year ahead. That really shows how structure can really help us stay focused on what matters most. And the third gem that I took away was where she says, stop trying to be everywhere, right? Instead of spreading yourself thin across countless platforms like most of us do, focus on the one place where your audience is and show up consistently. So my question for you today is, which of Stacey's insights resonated most with you? Was it community, connection, content, or intentional planning, or just focusing on the one platform? And how will you apply it to your business? Let me know in the comments below. Now, make sure you connect with Stacey by checking out her links in the description below. And then if you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you would subscribe, leave a comment. Even so, share it with another entrepreneur who would benefit from this conversation. Until next time, keep building your business one purposeful step at a time, and I'll see you on the next video.